Every time you get a chance to witness this scene, you feel lucky. Nothing like it.
Man, this is what it's all about. This is what college football is all about. I've said this is the best scene in the country.
I love and appreciate you guys. Understand this. We didn't get here without every single person in this room. We got here together. Let's finish this thing together. Everybody got me? Let's go do this thing.
Welcome back to Whiteout Weekly on our 5th straight glorious victory week as we got our sweet revenge by shutting out the Hoosiers. First time they've been shut out since 2000, over 20 years. So last podcast, we talked about how their secondary could be a liability. And then before the game, Tywone Mullins rolled out. Within the first 2 quarters, their other cornerback, Reese Taylor, exits. So I thought it was just going to be an air raid assault by Sean Clifford. I thought he was going to throw up 6 touchdowns. Dotson would go for, 4. Washington would get in there. Lambert Smith would get in there. But we ended up with 209 yards on the ground, which was a main concern of ours heading into the Big Ten schedule here.
Yeah, it was nice to see the run game get going a little bit. It was a no flash, no thrills game. Wasn't nothing too exciting, but nonetheless, a 24-0 Big Ten shutout win in prime time at home. Again, another week where you see a lot of teams struggling. Nice to go in, take care of business, and really never had a doubt with this game. Right out the gate, Penix, he looked right away that he was pretty rattled. I don't know if it was the nagging injury or what it was, but he didn't look himself. And then eventually when he went out and then Tuttle came in and AK that he just laid the lumber on him.
I was about to say,
it was a wrap.
I felt bad for Penix, because they were showing all of his injuries over the years. It's like his ACL, and I think it was a shoulder, then another ACL. And then as soon as Tuttle came in the game, AK just body slams him. Don't feel bad anymore. That kid just got rocked.
But no, that was certainly sweet, especially after last year and the broadcast team. They did their best to show those stats not the stats from last year, but that last play, that 2-point conversion. Yeah. But so it's definitely sweet to get that win in that fashion. 24-zip, laying a goose egg. It was good.
Mm-hmm. And again, going back to Penix, that kid's a fighter. You could tell the last play that he was in and finally limped off the field. That was he was hurt way before that. Yeah. He was not moving around, had no mobility. Our edge rushers were just not even paying attention to the RPO. They're just crushing down at the running back. So, yeah, feel bad for that kid. I had him, after last season, I really thought that he was going to come back and possibly be a Heisman hopeful. But I guess after 2 knee surgeries, that takes a lot out of you.
To be honest, I didn't follow up. Did they say what the injury was? Or is he going to be out?
I don't know. It was obviously his knee because he was slumping and grabbing it. It has to be a complication from one of those surgeries. I don't know if he tore the same ACL or if it was he tore both.
He's pretty banged up either way. But
tough look for
him to be out this week,
and a tough look for Indiana, obviously for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
but let's talk about the man we have to talk about every single week, and that is our QB1, Sean Clifford.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have the best game. Even stats is threw 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, but was just highly inaccurate, which was what was our one concern with him every week is his inaccuracy. And he was missing on out throws, seam throws, he was missing on a lot of easy open throws that he should have been hitting. And I was a little bit concerned.
Yeah, and it was right out of the gate too. He didn't seem to quite pick up where he left off against Nova. Granted, it was an FCS opponent, but like you said, he missed a couple to Lambert Smith. He missed a couple to Dotson as well that even, as sure-handed as Dotson's been, couldn't grab. So he'll be in a big spot this week. But last week, they try to put him in some good spots, get him going, but he just didn't quite seem himself. Still had an effective game. Obviously, like we said, got the win 24-zip, didn't do anything too hastily to put us in a bad spot, but want to see him continue on that trajectory that he was on this week, especially because he's got no other option. It's going to come down to how he plays this week against Iowa to get us the win. So
yeah,
but,
and if
like you said, not as great.
I feel like his legs have almost become like an afterthought to him. Like he needs to utilize his mobility a little bit more than he has been. Maybe that's part of the offensive game plan, like keeping him in the pocket. But I feel like his mobility is a threat that we need to utilize on the offense, like keeping defenses aware of his running ability in order to keep him off balance and not being able to guess what's next. A couple stats on Clifford. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say he had some key spots where he made the right decision of when to run. But to your point, I think they can utilize him a little more in that facet. Not like last year where we were running QB draws left and right. I don't think we need to go back to there, but I think they can definitely implement a little more there to use that mobility, especially as we get into Big Ten play. And hasn't been anything that's been on film. So it could be some new wrinkles that you see your teachers on.
Very true. So a couple stats on Clifford, actually. When he was kept clean in the pocket, he was 16 of 26. So 61% accuracy, pretty fucking good. For 70 yards, 3 touchdowns, no sacks, obviously. And of those incompletions, one was bad at the line, and then one was dropped. I forget by who. I think it was Lambert Smith who dropped it.
Yeah.
But then his stats under pressure. So 61% completion percentage, 70 yards, 3 touchdowns while he's kept clean. Under pressure, he went 1 of 7. That's 14% completion percentage for 8 yards and an interception. So that all comes down to what we talked about in the first ever episode of Whiteout Weekly. The O-line needs to keep him clean to make those easy reads, easy throws. And they kind of uncharacteristically gave up 10 total pressures in that game.
Yeah.
5 of them were from Rasheed Walker, who had, he had an off game. And then 3 were surprisingly from Drew Scruggs. Otherwise, he hasn't allowed a sack since week 1.
Yeah.
So I think the O-line needs to step up in this Iowa game. Their D-line's definitely a problem. So I think keeping Clifford clean is going to be one of my keys to this Iowa game. But before we jump to that, who's your one name all game for the Indiana game?
So I think, again, another surprise this week. I'm going to go with Jordan Stout. Second time this year, the special teams do it all. Kicker, punter, kickoff. Second time this year, I think he was co special teams player of the week in the Big Ten. Hit that big 50-yarder, which was good. Always good for your kicker's confidence to hit a big kick like that. Punt still averaging around the 50 yards a punt mark. So he's not only been putting leg behind his kicks, but also he's been burying teams within that 20-yard mark.
Yeah,
I think I saw
his kicks too.
Yeah, and I think I saw a stat on his kickoffs too. I think he leads the nation with a 93.3% touchback rate on kickoffs.
Love those.
One kick against Indiana where landed at the 1-yard line, which was a little bit of a shocker because they're not used to seeing that. And I think the one right after he put between the uprights. So kid's got a leg. So nice to see him. They're asking a lot out of him to do all 3 facets of special teams, but he's stepped up and he's been ringing the bell big time this year.
I mean, I know Sam Ficken went on to have like a generally good NFL career, but after suffering through the Ficken tragedy of, I think it was 2011, 2012.
I still have nightmares from that.
Seeing a Penn State kicker hit a 50-yarder, I'm just like, what is going on right now? Like, it's another round.
Yeah.
Like, this is not what we do, but this is a different team.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to see. And there hasn't been much of a drop-off. I know before him, we had Blake Gillikin, who's in the NFL now. I think he's with the Saints, who was a big-time punter for us. I think we got a kid coming in who's one of the top ranked punters in the nation too, but Stout's been big, especially like I said, with all that they're asking of him. He's shown up big time. That third phase, that crucial third phase.
So for mine, my one name all game. I'm again going to break the rules, split it in two names all game. It's got to be AK and Jesse Lucetta for me. Combined, they had 8 total pressures. AK had that body slam sack, which was awesome. Lucetta finished with a QB hit, and they combined for 6 QB hurries, 5 stops, and 0 missed tackles. And I think was it you who picked AK as your impact player of the year?
Yeah, AK, episode 1, man.
So his ranks, let me bring him up real quick. His ranks in the Big Ten this year. He's tied for 3rd in total pressures with 22. First in QB hits with 9. He's a 23% win percentage while getting blocked, tied for 4th. 3 sacks, which could be so many more, tied for 11th. And PFF has him as a 88.1 pass rushing grade, which is 3rd in all of the Big Ten. So kid is killing, coming from Temple and just step up, becoming one of the most prolific pass rushers in the Big Ten, pretty much.
Yeah, especially with all the questions, coming from Temple in the AAC or American Conference, can he make that leap to the Big Ten, to Big Ten play? And he's shown it right out the gate with huge plays, and just all around just consistency. So he's big time acquisition. And
Lucetta's just his versatility just always surprises me every game. Beelining at the quarterback, doing swim moves, getting under left tackles like arms, ducking under, doing the dip. And then he's also dropped back in coverage, and he's still like decent coverage. He's just an all-around, just terrific player, and I love how they're using him on defense. So
having to completely transform to a new role at that DN role, but still having those linebacker instincts, just that versatility. It's just, you can't beat it, and he's been big on defense this year.
I think that's going to help his draft stock a lot too.
Absolutely,
as we head closer to draft season. Do you have anything that needs to be improved after the Indiana game, heading into huge primetime game?
Woo. I got goosebumps already, man. Kinnick in October is where dreams go to die, but keeping the faith. So, but I think for me, the running game, like we said, it showed up last week. I think they can still show consistency.
209 yards, nothing.
Nothing to fret at, but short yardage situations, going into a week like this, a game like this, where it's typically low scoring. You look at throwing last year out the window, the previous meeting in Kinnick, we squeaked out of there with a 17-12 win. Before that, you're looking at, that other game in Kinnick where we wanted the buzzer, where Saquon had the game of his life. So in those tight contested battles, especially now, look at all the stakes, a top 5 matchup. Don't say clear path to the playoffs because our schedule's still a gauntlet, but looking at what's at stake here, there's going to be moments in this game where they know, everyone in that stadium is going to know we have to run. Iowa's going to know we have to run. It's 3rd and 4. Can you give the tote to Noah Cain, and can he get you that first down when everyone knows it's coming? Can you get it done? So I think that's really the big piece for improvement. And just overall as a team, I think week to week, they played really, and Franklin has said it best, they play really complementary football, but they haven't really pieced everything together. You had the first few games where we didn't have the running game, passing game was there. Then last week, passing game was a little off, running game was there.
Very true.
Special teams wasn't there. So really, it's not now or never, but here's a big time test of, hey, can you put it all together to come out of Kinnick with that big time win? So specifically, the focal point is going to be that short yardage running game, but just overall as a group, they would love to see them put it all together for 4 complete quarters.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of nitpicking, needs to be improved at this point. They're number 4 in the nation, but as we face tougher and tougher competition, I do agree that, we need to have a balanced offense that keeps defenses guessing. Like you said, on those 3rd and shorts, we need to be able to convert those every time. And that's where I think Sean Clifford's mobility might come into play. If you throw a couple RPOs in there, they might have to hedge a little more on Sean Clifford possibly taking it out. Noah Cain, bang, up the middle for 2.
Yeah.
First down.
And Franklin said Kane's a full go this week. Last week, he looked shaky, he looked hesitant, and I know the columnists up there, 24/7 Sports, those other guys, they were trying to do some digging to see if there's anything up with him. Franklin just kind of gave a blanket statement of everyone's dealing with midseason things, injuries. So there's definitely still something nagging there, but he says he's a full go. So we all know what he's capable of, and the rest of that room has shown signs of what they can do. But Kane's really your number one guy, so I'm looking for him to have a really big week this week.
And college injuries are so weird where you don't they're not totally transparent. You know, of an injury report where it's like, oh, this is what's wrong. He didn't prep, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have that every week. So yeah.
Especially just with how Franklin is. His whole mentality, they keep that hush hush until something leaks. But
yeah. So nitpicking, obviously, I'm gonna go with Clifford's accuracy. He needs to be consistent in this game. We're gonna talk about it in a little bit, but they have an unreal secondary. So his accuracy on 10+ yard throws needs to be pinpoint. And I know Dotson can make any catch. Parker Washington can make any guy miss. But the way we're going to win this game is, I think, the same thing we say every week. Get him comfortable, easy throws, and then take your shots down the field. Because the kid has confidence. He has confidence, shown it time and time again. As long as he has gotten into a rhythm, he's going to be able to hit those throws.
Yeah.
Before we head into the humongous game preview against number 3 Iowa, we got a little time for some trivia. Just a reminder, this is Penn State 2000 to 2010 era trivia. I'm on the clock. Dave, you've gotten 2 questions right so far.
Yeah. I gotta get to this week.
So here we go. Hit me with number 2.
All right. So your question is, who is the Penn State all-time leader in total tackles?
Oh, fuck.
And I'll give you a hint. So obviously this is in between 2000 and 2010. So this gentleman played from 2004 to 2007. Hails from Wallingford, PA, went to Strathaven High School.
Okay, give it away. Dan Connor.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby. Strathaven. Gave it away. I was between Sean Lee and how many tackles?
Yeah.
Career?
Yeah.
4 years he was there?
Yeah.
Okay. 276.
Way higher.
489.
Ooh, lower.
456.
No, 419.
419. All right.
419.
Yeah, that's Strathaven clue. Gave it away. I was between him and Sean Lee.
Okay. Yeah, it was
Sean
Connor.
Lee was
Connor, and then Puslesny second, and I think Lee's top 5. I think. But those were the glory years of LBU.
Oh my God, yeah. All right, let's get into it.
Woo.
Number 3, Iowa.
Iowa week, baby.
Hosting number 4, Penn State. The biggest game of the year so far for Penn State. Have you looked at the line?
I saw it open with the Hawkeyes -2.5, or so the Nits at +2.5.
Yeah, correct. Over under.
I think it was 41.
Yeah, I might have dropped 40.5.
Yeah. Oof.
So looking at this game, I have nightmares about playing Iowa. At home, on the road, I just have nightmares about playing them because I know it's going to be a boring game. They're just going to run the ball. We're going to have to wait them out, stop the run, and hopefully get some kind of capitalization on offense and try to exploit their defense, which this year is tough because they have one of the best secondaries besides us in the nation, in the Big Ten, I would say.
Yeah. And I don't know if you saw, but they were saying it's the first regular season Big Ten top 5 matchup If you take out Ohio State, you'd have to go all the way back to 1997.
Holy crap.
And if you exclude Michigan from it, you're going all the way back to 1962. The last time you had two Big Ten teams ranked in the top 5 going toe-to-toe in the regular season. So
Jeez.
the biggest Big Ten game in a while.
Yes, it is. Oh, boy. All right, so they are led, the Iowa Hawkeyes, by Spencer Petras, a junior who's completing 62% of his passes, very accurate, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception, but he's been sacked 11 times in 5 games and pressured 44 times in those 5 games. So their offensive line is young, kind of in the works, but they do have some studs on there. Their center, Tyler Linderbaum, I think is his last name, Linderbaum. Not sure which one it is. He's only allowed 2 sacks on the year, so PJ Musper is going to have a battle in the trenches against this kid.
Yeah, I think he's one of the highest ranked centers in the country, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I think looking at a first round grade for the upcoming draft.
I mean, Iowa always has the corn-fed.
I got them homegrown Iowa boys
Every year. And then they have possibly one of the most dynamic weapons in all the Big Ten, and Tyler Goodson. 5'10", 200-pound dual threat back. He's averaging 4.3 yards per carry, and he's the team's second leading receiver with 12 catches for 146 yards and a touchdown. So
probably one of the most dynamic backs they've had. If you go back recent history, that Akrum Wadley, who was just there, set a lot of, I don't know if he set a lot of records, but he was a really complete back. But a lot of people within or close to the team think that Goodson, if not is already, has a chance to be much better than Wadley.
Yeah, which is saying something. And then going to the other side of the ball, their defense is absolutely insane. They're letting up 11.6 points per game, which is 3rd in the FBS. But Penn State is at 2nd at 10.8 points per game. So their defensive line had no sacks in the last game against Maryland, but they did have 7 total pressures. And Talia Tagovailoa threw 5 interceptions on Friday night. The game I was about to bet on in the Big Ten Bonanza. 5 interceptions. His backup had another one, so they had 6 total, and they won 51-14. Just an absolute pounding.
6 different players picked off a pass in that game.
Out of
6
control.
different players.
Out of control. So looking at some of the playmakers on their defense, we got linebacker Jack Campbell, who, again, I mean, every week it seems we face these linebackers who are just sideline to sideline threats at defending the run. However, in coverage, quarterbacks are going 11 of 16 against him for 113 yards. So he's letting up over 13 yards per catch.
Yeah.
Something to be exploited, possibly get the tight ends involved, Strange and Theo Johnson. Do a little game plan action. And then nice little game for Theo here. The Hawkeyes thought they had him locked up during the recruiting process, and then he divvied the other way, came to State College. So would nice to see him have a breakout game, kind of show them what they could have had. And then one of the most talented secondaries besides us, I think, in the Big Ten, if you want to talk about them.
Yeah, one of their top performers has been Riley Moss, 6'1" DB, senior. Another boy is from Iowa.
Yeah, he's really good.
3 picks on the year. They got a couple other guys, Merriweather, who's kind of their leader, in that secondary. But very, very talented group, senior ring group. Like you said, one of the most talented in the Big Ten, aside from us. But yeah, it's going to be a test for sure. Their D line has a lot of length, which allows them to kind of get in passing lanes and put their hands up and block those down. You already mentioned Campbell, lengthy guy, 6'5", 243, 46 tackles on the year, had 18 tackles in that game against Colorado State. That was a little bit closer than most probably would have anticipated. But it's a well-disciplined group. We already mentioned the takeaways. I think it's almost 50% of their points on the year have been off of turnovers. So you could go to the tune of the narrative that you can't bank on turnovers all year long to win you games. But I think there's also something to be said of how disciplined and how fundamentally sound that group is to put them in spots to take advantage of those opportunities when they arise. You got Kirk Ferentz, who's been there forever. D coordinator Phil Parker. I think he's been there 15 plus years. So you know what you're getting out of that group. Kind of similar to how we are with Franklin and Brent Pry. You're not going to really have a lot of guys that you'll find out of position. It's more so you're having to go in knowing what they're going to do and beat them at it. Franklin described it as they're very simplistic in what they do, but they're also very sound. They switch between a 4-2-5 and a 4-3. Went to that 4-2-5 kind of recently, and some of it has to do with our last matchup, or I don't know if it was last year, a couple of years ago, where Dotson kind of burned them out of the slot before he became our premier guy.
Yep.
But that 4-2-5 allows that secondary to have eyes or have additional eyes on the quarterback. So like we said, it's going to be essential that Clifford continues to take care of the rock and doesn't put our defense in bad spots and give Iowa the ball in plus territory.
Yeah. I think every single one of their secondary of the four that you mentioned, besides Matt Hankins, had an interception against Maryland. So that just goes to show any one of them can make a play on the ball at any single time. But going back to the Colorado State game, that was a lot closer than people expected. Might have been a little bit of a look ahead spot, but I think Colorado State showed a key of how to beat Iowa, and that is stopping Goodson and the run. So Goodson had 18 carries that game. I mean, that seems obvious, but
yeah,
18 carries for 57 yards, 3.3 yards per carry. So getting them so 3.3 yards per carry. If you keep them to that average, getting them in long third downs is going to be a nightmare for them. They went 4-13 on third down against Colorado State, and were 5 for 13 on third downs against Maryland. So it's not like they're this prolific. They're putting up points, but they're not this prolific offense. It's their defense, like you said, setting them up past the 50-yard line, already in prime scoring position. Then they just pound the ball. Yeah. So if we can win field position with your guy, Jeff Stout, your one name all game, if we can win the field position battle and get them in third and longs, I think we have a really good shot of winning this game.
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think our best bet is not totally convinced that Petras can go out and win the game for them, provided that they're having to sustain long drives. So I think, like you said, if we're able to bottle up that run and force him to throw to some guys who probably haven't gotten a lot of opportunities because they've just been so fortunate where their defense has set them up in some short drives to put games away early.
Yeah, and also not letting Goodson get a mismatch on offense. Yeah. That would be a nightmare. Him against like a linebacker or something out wide would not be good.
Yeah, so really going to need Brooks, Smith, and Jacobs all to really stay disciplined, find the gaps at the right times and really bottle up that run game. That's going to be a huge
I think that
focal point for this week.
I think that's the key on defense, and then offense, obviously Clifford, no turnovers, smart throws, run when necessary. And then I think this might be the game where the tight ends break out. With their secondaries prowess and just overall ball hawking skills. Yeah. I think we could take advantage of some tight end on linebacker mismatches. And Brendan Strange and Theo Johnson could be in for a huge day. I know Dotson's probably going to be the favorite for the best wide receiver in the country. But if they're just completely shutting him off, you got to look to other options. And these guys might be the ones that have the mismatches, and you just got to play the game at that point.
Yeah. Kind of take what they're giving you. Again, would love to see some explosive plays to kind of break things open early, but you just want to play sound, disciplined football and don't give the game away. That's really going to be big for Clifford.
And then again, Big Ten schedule, we have to make them respect the run. That's huge. Absolutely Huge. All right.
And this week, not quite a revenge game, but they were the last team to beat us before we got on our winning streak here. So they handed us our fifth loss. Yeah.
All right.
Just some bulletin board material, man.
Material.
Put that up in Kinnick. Iowa's already got they put the opposing team in the pink locker room, but put that on their minds too. They handed us our last loss before we ripped off this win streak. So
anything to put on the bulletin board in my book. All right, so now we anxiously await it's a 4 p.m. game, right? They didn't put that at prime time.
4 p.m. Eastern, yeah, Fox. Yeah, Fox.
4 p.m. Eastern. And I mean, our bets on this game, I feel like both of us are taking Penn State money.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I don't even mess with the 2.5, man. Money line or nothing.
Yeah. 2.5, give me a break. Money line all day. And we are here at week 6 of the Big Ten Betting Bonanza. And to be quite honest, I'm ashamed to be in this competition. I should probably withdraw after my bets. Dave is up 8-3 on me.
Ooh.
He won the Michigan money line, which I thought was going to be a rat line. Thought was
Fuck sketchy lines, baby. Fuck sketchy lines.
Vegas plays so many mind tricks with me. It's not even fun. Like they make that line thinking, you know what I mean? Like it's going to go the other way. And then,
yeah, they're in my nightmares.
Then you hit on Michigan State minus 10.5 against my squad, Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Who you see that second half?
I did see that second half.
Michigan State was blowing them out in the first half.
That's feisty, man.
Hilltoppers second half might be a bet I start placing live.
Yeah, start looking at those trends. I think you're honest.
And then your loss, which I also had, Northwestern plus 11, and they end up losing to Nebraska 56-7. How about that?
That season total over 6.5 is not looking good. I might cash in that ticket.
Yeah, you really might have to at this point. And then my season just continues to be terrible. Rutgers first half plus 7.5 was just like a joke. I think it was 28-6 at halftime, maybe 35-6. So that was over before the first quarter ended. But and then I had the Northwestern. I tailed you on that as well. So 0-2, but I did hit on the first ever stripe out bet. Penn State minus 12.
Yeah.
12. So that brought me up to 3. So I got to start taking some moonshots here.
Yeah.
It's week 6. Maybe I should just go for some singles and doubles.
Yeah.
I'll do the honors as the weekly sucker. My first one is going to be singles and doubles. Ohio State minus 11.5 first half bet against Maryland.
Ooh,
Maryland just lost their leading wide receiver in receiving yards and receptions. Talia just threw for 5 picks against Iowa, as we talked about. They're going into the Horseshoe, which is not a friendly environment.
Mm-hmm.
I just see Ohio State blowing them out of the water. I just don't see this even being a close game. I've been high on Maryland all year, but I think Ohio State goes up 28-0 in the first half and then kind of just rides it out from there.
So I'm with you. I think Ohio State wins that game big, but I'm gonna take the over in this game.
Okay.
I'm going over 69.5.
Nice number.
I think Ohio State's defense.
That's a big number, though. Dude.
It is a big over, but I think Ohio State's going to put up points, and I think they're going to give up points in the process. I think the jury's still out on that defense, and I could see Ohio State, 52-21 type ball game here, still blowing them out. But I think Maryland puts up some points.
True, I like that, but fuck. But yeah, again, like the thing I was about to take. Spoiler alert: I'm not taking Maryland. Obviously, but I was looking at that. Like the overreaction would be Talia throwing 5 picks, throwing a pick plus 21 would be the play if we were contrarian because it's the public public perception of them is all over.
Yeah. What have you done for me lately?
But yeah, I like that pick. My second one will be we talked about this earlier, pretty obvious pick here, I think. The under 40.5 in Iowa Penn State. I think it's going to be like a 17-14, 20-14 ball game, something like that. Very limited touchdowns, field goals, stout, coming in clutch. If he can hit a 50-yarder in this game, I think that is all the difference in the world. Points are going to be at a premium. 2 of the top 3 defenses facing each other. 11.8 points per game versus 10.6. So under all day. Undertaker gift.
You're absolutely right. And it pains my heart. I can already feel my heart beating out of my chest. It's in the fetal position on the ground in the fourth quarter.
You know what the game
that out. Oh, I got to get my heart.
It's going to be the third quarter. It's going to be like 10-3, 7-3, something like that. Like the third quarter already. Like what the hell's happening?
Oh, I know.
Big Ten football. Big Ten.
Not looking forward to it, but it is what it is. All right. So for my second pick, so I've been riding them all year long, but out of the Big Ten West, they've been surprising a lot of people, surprising me. I thought it was a dumpster fire. They've been turning some heads. The Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Hey, now.
Scott Frost turning that program around, and believe it or not, they could be the second best team in the Big Ten West right now behind Iowa. Both divisions is probably the most skewed they've been in some time. We always know the Big Ten East. You got your obviously Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, but really the depth in both divisions is just so skewed this year. But I think Nebraska is maybe onto something, and I'm going to roll with them here. They got a primetime showdown in Lincoln against Michigan. Michigan's been big this year.
You've been hitting on Michigan, though.
I know.
You're going against all your beliefs, all your morals out the window.
All my morals out the window. But it's a week-to-week thing, Lucci. You gotta stay sharp.
That's why you're beating me. That's why
you gotta know when to get off the wave. So I'm getting off your brain. I bet one. I'm thinking the Huskers plus 3.5.
No money line.
No money line.
All right.
Singles. Going for singles here.
Singles and doubles. All right, so yeah, I have 2 singles on the board. Ohio State minus 11.5 first half bet, under 40.5 in Iowa and Penn State. But now I'm going for the home run. I'm taking Illinois money line at home. I think the spread is Wisconsin minus 10.
Yeah.
They're 1-3. I just think Wisconsin is they're out of it. They're done with the season. They don't want to be a part of it. Illinois definitely has a chip on their shoulder every time they play Wisconsin, because I think I'm pretty sure I looked like their past 5 matchups, and Wisconsin's just blown them out every time. So this is kind of a return to the mean type bet where Wisconsin's won the past like 5 matchups. Something's got to give. It's got to go back to the mean. Illinois money line.
Also, you got Brett Bielema, former Wisconsin head coach, now coaching the Illini, so he might have some inside intel there to get you that dub.
And another one. Yeah. So plus 10.5. So that would be, what were we saying? That was be plus 7 if it hits.
Yeah. Double digit dog.
That would bring me right back in. So I am a pseudo fighting Illini fan this weekend, just to bring me back in this competition.
Oh, that's a good old noon kickoff Big Ten slobber knocker fest. So
2 singles and then going for the bomb at the end. What you got for your third pick?
So for my third pick, I'm staying with this game. So I was along the same mindset as you. I'm not going for the home run here. I'm taking Illini plus 10.
This is why you're going to beat me. Singles.
All my comments I was saying about Nebraska, I am now picking those up and dropping those over the head of Wisconsin. I think they are a dumpster fire. I think Graham Mertz is not the answer. They pulled him last week. He was banged up a little bit, but so we'll see if he gets an nod this week. I think he will. But I think Illini, they're playing for something. Bielema's got those guys fighting. He's going to get some more of his guys in next year, as his recruits start to flow in. But I think they play him tough, and I think they hang in there by a score.
Well, let's hope it's the money line, because now that you kind of ruined that bomb for me. Now if you hit it, like if I had to, that means taking half my points away.
Oh, wow. Not much to pick from this week.
The slate was tough. It's all Big Ten versus Big Ten teams. I think there's like 4 or 5 games to pick from.
Yeah,
very tough.
The only one we left.
That's why
out.
I had to go with the money line. I had to.
Michigan State was the only one we left out, I think.
Yeah, and that's a weird spread too. Isn't that like a -5 at Rutgers?
Yeah.
Oof. Have you seen? I have not seen it yet. Have you seen the Many Saints of Newark?
I haven't watched yet. No, not yet.
All right, we'll report on that next week.
After
the big game, Penn State has a bye. We'll recap the Iowa game, recap Many Saints of Newark, go into a little preview of the rest of the schedule, and that's the plan for the bye week episode next week, coming out on Wednesday, as always, 6 p.m. And thank you guys so much again for watching. Again, we appreciate every single time you guys view in. So thanks again.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching and tuning in to Whiteout Weekly. We will be back every week with more Penn State news and information. And once again, I cannot thank you enough for spending your time with us. Lucci signing out.
See you guys.